be nice to have a forklift that was not a 1967 model that was worth the crap. But hey, we make do with what we got. I don't normally raise hay to sell, normally just raise it for myself. But if it looks like I'm gonna have some extra, I'll sell it, you know. And plus this is my cousin, so I told her I'd sell her some. But we're gonna get on the road and see if we can't get this hay to frog jump. Comment on one of my videos. The video was baling hay in West Tennessee. He said, asked if it was hay or weeds. And yeah, that hay there did have some weeds in it. I don't normally, most of my hay is not like it, but there's a story on that hay. We was in the field and we had a super wet spring this year, and because row crops pay all the bills, we concentrated on the row crops, and we didn't get in there to cut the hay till July. And by that time the weeds had grown up through the good hay, but there was some good fescue down in it, and clover in it. You just couldn't see it. But just for old cow or something, it's alright. But after that, when we went back and square baled it after we cut it and cleaned the field up, we baled about 100 bale of good square hay off of that field. So, but no, not all my hay looks like that. I doubt I'm even gonna bale any hay this year. I think I'm just gonna buy my hay this year, because I can buy it cheaper than I can bale it. Now Daddy, he's still gonna bale all his hay, but it just no more calves than I run. It ain't worth it to. It's not worth it to go through the trouble of renting a farm and fertilizing it and tending to it and having to deal with the landlord to justify putting up hay. So I'm just gonna buy mine. I got a buddy named Clay. He always puts up some good hay, and I've bought hay from him before. So Clay does a really good job with his hay. So just gonna buy it from him. Tell us what you think about the hay situation, Walt. Should we bale hay? Should we bale hay or should we buy hay? That's a good answer. I guess this can be story time with Dylan while we're riding down the road. I don't know why, but I sitting here thinking back on it. In 2012, I had a field, had a bunch of volunteer weight on it. And I cut that volunteer weight and baled it. And it was about June, July. And I mean, it made way more hay than I was going to feed. So I just posted it for sale on Craigslist. 2012 is the year we had the bad drought here in West Tennessee. Well, it was actually all over the U.S. but he meeting the sprayer here. I'm trying to give him some room. But in 2012 we had that bad drought, and I posted it for sale on Craigslist, and a boy from around Springfield, Missouri had a bunch of cattle, and he was already having to feed hay in July. His pasture was burned up, and I had rolled all that volunteer weight up, and he come down here and bought every roll of that volunteer weight I had, and then we'd put up some fescue hay that actually Robert was in halves on that deal on that fescue. But he come down here with a drop deck trailer. We borrowed a loader tractor and we loaded him up with hay. We had a old 851 New Holland baler we baled that with, and I think it made like a 5x6 bale or 6x6 bale. But anyways, it ain't like these bales I got on the trailer. I think they're 4x5s, 4 foot wide and 5 foot tall, and they fit real nice on the gooseneck trailer. They don't hang off none, and that's why a lot of people has went to them around here. But we had them old big bales on it, and man, he's braver than I was, because I wouldn't have never took off to Springfield, Missouri with that load. But maybe he got it home. He had it strapped on good. But I done real well on hay that year. I was still working for somebody else at that point, but I had a little crop that year. I had 15 acres of corn that year. I think it averaged 71 bushel, but it was bringing like $7 a bushel. And then I sold that hay for about, I think, $30 a roll. And done all right that year. that field right there, it might just look like a field right now, but me and Robert ain't the original Joyce brothers. The original Joyce brothers was my granddaddy Walt, my great uncle Bubba, and my great uncle James. And that field right there was a schoolhouse, and old schoolhouse in it, and they used it to store feed and stuff. Had a bunch of cattle there, but they farmed there. That was my uncle James's farm where the old schoolhouse was. This farm right here, that was my granddaddy Walt's. That's who Walt's named after. But they farmed there in the Brazil frog jump area. They ran Ford tractors. Put a bunch of crop in with 801 Fords. And Daddy's favorite tractor he always talks about was the 8000 Ford. And I reckon that was his favorite tractor. And on the end there they had some John Deere's 4430, 4230. They had a Ford combine. And I think it went to like a 7700 John Deere. A couple years ago I asked Daddy to run the combine for me. We kind of got in a bind to try and get the crop out, and I put him running the combine while Robert drilled wheat and I drove the truck. Daddy got done at the end of the day. I asked him, I said, Daddy, what's the last combine you run? And he said, F2 Gleaner. But anyways, they farmed together there for several years, and they just kind of decided to all go their own way. So they went their own way, and my granddaddy Walt, he went and worked for the Gibson County Highway Department for a few years, and then he retired, and then he kept several head of mama cows, and when he retired, he just seen after his cows. He traded horses. He always loved a horse, and he'd work with a bunch of young horses and stuff and get them riding good. I think we're down to one horse that my granddaddy Walt broke, and that's old Romeo. That's the last dang horse we got left that he broke, and it's gonna be a sad day when something happens to old Romeo. But I reckon that's gonna be the end of this video. We just goofing around, loading some hay. Took it to my cousin over here at Frog Jump. Nothing real exciting, but I thought, hey, why not bring y'all along, tell y'all a story